Quarantine Cards Round 4, my friends. How's it going? I'm TC Popcorn, at TC Popcorn on Twitter, at TC Popcorn on Instagram as well. Share, submit, like, all the above. Hope I'm providing you some entertainment during this quarantine. This is the 4th episode. We're doing it appears to be every other day, basically, right now. So that's the plan. Here's my notes for today as I jump into this one. I got to start with, first of all, this hat, right? I have Google Home. My house is Google equipped. And just a few seconds ago was the man who had this hat, Andrew Salgado. He's an artist. You should check him out on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. He's visited me each of the last 2 seasons in the Schaumburg Boomers press box, spending some time up there with me. Good dude. Always appreciate having him around. And I was actually thinking about wearing this hat the other day, and then I got some grief on Twitterverse from DeReese. So there you go. It's here. It's on. I have been wearing it. I promise, Andrew. All right. And speaking of Twitter, about 4 people tagged me in this 5 jobs you've had thing. So I guess I'll have to fill that out tomorrow. But I'll just tease you with a couple. I mean, server, right? Manager at Blockbuster Video back in the day before they were gone. If you haven't checked out the last Blockbuster Twitter account, if it's still around, it's friggin' hilarious. And lifeguard. I was lifeguard for a long time, if you didn't know that either. So we'll answer those on Twitter officially, give you some more stuff there. Also got on Twitter, favorite moments in broadcasting from the year. And Andrew Salgado was one of those. Always great when he drops by, as I said. So I'll try and find some audio for that to jump out there for you as well. But did you know that all the Boomers games are still on Meridix if you want to go and check them out? And Adam, I know you're going to be doubly curious for this one because on VenueEagles.com we have the archive still for all of the games that I broadcast this year during basketball season, including that overtime victory over Wisconsin Lutheran. Wink, wink. Didn't get to broadcast any baseball games, unfortunately, this year with the way things ended down the stretch. So today, the ESPN2 became ESPN8, the Ocho. That's pretty funny. It got me wondering, what are some big events you look forward to every year? ESPN was showing WrestleMania, which is always one of my favorites every year. Royal Rumble kind of starts the kickoff to WrestleMania. Of course, everybody talks about Daytona 500, and there's the Super Bowl and Major League Baseball's opening day and March Madness, which unfortunately was canceled. By the way, I think Illinois would have won, going all the way, totally. 110% Illini. Actually, don't sit on for next year. Assuming all gets back to normal, they're definitely going to be a very good team next year, especially if DeSumo stays. But what big events do you look forward to? Let me know on Twitter, at TC Popcorn, and pop in the comments here on Facebook and Instagram as well. Let me know your thoughts. One of the things that broadcasters are good at are telling stories, and there's been some Baseball America profiles about some great stories of broadcasters and friends of mine who are in the minor leagues sharing some of their thoughts. So maybe in our next episode I'll relay a couple of fun stories from my time in minor league baseball as well. But it did get me wondering, what is one thing that people don't know about you? So ponder that question as well. And that kind of goes back to the 5 jobs. What is one thing people don't know about you? In my case, I bet you didn't know that I was a certified spin instructor and taught spin classes for a long time. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Also that I was a very active triathlete for a few years. So yeah, there you go. There's something maybe you didn't know about me. Don't forget, my friends, wash your hands. Very important with everything going on in the world. What have you been doing to stay busy during this time? I just popped into this book. It's called Where Nobody Knows Your Name. It's written by John Feinstein, who's one of my favorite authors. I have a story to tell you about John Feinstein. Something you may not know about me is when I was in college, I interned on Capitol Hill for Congressman Phil Crane, who was a Republican from out here in Chicagoland. And while I was out there, I had a chance to go to an Orioles game and spend some time up in the press box. And John Feinstein actually came in. He said he was stopping through on his way to do some research for his new book. So I had the chance to meet him, and I didn't know who he was at that point. Mind you, I was 19, 20 years old. And since then, I've read almost every one of his books, and there's some great ones out there. The cover lists A Good Walk Spoiled and A Season on the Brink specifically as a couple of the ones. He writes a lot of golf books, a lot of college basketball books, and he's done a good job delving into some great baseball stories. And this is fantastic, where nobody knows your name. It's stories about all these players in AAA and whatnot. So dive into it. Highly recommend it. You got any good books you're reading over this quarantine? Let me know. This shelter in place. I also saw this one today on the social media realm. One of the things I do is see a lot of funny memes and questions that people are asking in Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. And this one was, what are the best comedies? This person had set up their own home theater with like a projector and a screen and all of that stuff. So I was trying to think of some of the best comedies that I've seen recently. I love anything that's Will Ferrell. He's flippin' hilarious. Even some of the ones that are a little unsung, which I'd have to give you off the top of my head. Bewitched is one of the ones that I think of, and I don't know what the name of it is offhand, but there was another one where he was like a real-life character who kept hearing the voice of the narrator. Those are some more serious roles for him. Of course, there's the old school route. Step Brothers is a great one. He's not in The Hangover, but The Hangover is one of my favorite comedies as well. Adam Sandler in his early movies was great with some slapstick humor. Going back to the 80s, Chevy Chase. I mean, I got to watch Christmas Vacation every year during Christmas Vacation. I was thinking of Fletch a lot recently, and I don't know why. But I remember one of my managers when I was working in Traverse City was a huge Chevy Chase fan, so we watched Fletch on the bus, and I think that was the first time I had seen it, and it's absolutely hysterical, and I've seen some things every now and then that pop up about that as well, which crack me up. So we got that. I think that's everything to cover that's not baseball cards in this one. Oh, I got challenged to do 10 push-ups a day. Think I should try and do that one? What do we think? I don't know if I can even do 5 push-ups, but I could give it a shot. So I got another set of Topps Opening Day 2020, because there are only 7 cards. We'll go through those quickly. Let's start with that before we delve into anything else here. The other pack is going to be 2018 Topps Series 2. It's got Bryce Harper on there, which is pretty neato. Like I said, we'll kind of go through this one relatively quickly. Here's Ken Giles. I think I pulled him in another one. Ironically, speaking of Bryce Harper, here he is. Check out that headband. I love it. That might be the Phillie Phanatic on his headband, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Bryce Harper is, let's see, former star Dale Murphy, writing in The Athletic, called him the most interesting player in the game. Everything he does is exciting, or at least more exciting than it would be if someone else did it. Isn't that the truth? I think I've talked about him before. I don't know if I pulled this exact card or just another one, but, he's statistically not necessarily the greatest, but he's just such an entertaining guy and kind of the personality that baseball needs right now, to be honest with you. Here's Paul Goldschmidt with the Cardinals. I cursed the day that the Diamondbacks traded him to the Cardinals, because I knew that as soon as they got him, he would make them a lot better, and he did hit 34 home runs for the Redbirds last year, of course. Jesus Luzardo, may have had him before as well, rookie with the A's. Nolan Arenado from the Rockies. A lot of rumors that he was going to go to the Cubs. I thought that was going to be very interesting this offseason. 41 homers, 118 RBIs last year for the Rocks, hitting .315. Whale of a player, but in a lot of cases, you got to wonder with all those Rocky players, is it Colorado or is it them? Here's a great story from last year. Mike Yastrzemski. That name might sound familiar. Carl Yastrzemski. Yaz, as Hawk Harrelson would say. Had a very good season last year for the Giants. His first year in the big leagues, coming up after a long run through the minors. Hit .272, 21 homers, 55 driven in. And then we got a mascot here to end with, the Swinging Friar of the Padres. Let's see, though part of the Padre culture since 1958, Swinging Friar didn't launch his own Twitter account until November of 2019, when the team unveiled its new brown and gold uniforms for 2020. His hooded robe also got an update with an interlocked SD on the front. Okay. The Swinging Friar. Do you have a favorite mascot? I was talking about the Phillie Phanatic earlier. Here's the Swinging Friar. The Cubs, of course, have Clark, so let me know if you got one of those. All right, now into the highlight of the day. This is a new pack, 2018 Baseball Series 1, Topps. Bryce Harper is on there. Nice metallic back, kind of reflector-ish. Series 2, I said, sorry, not Series 1. But let's dive in and see what happens. If you're not aware, Series 1 comes out at the start of the season before the year gets going. And then Series 2 comes out in June, roughly, to get a lot of the players who weren't necessarily featured in the first one, who had different teams and whatnot. So we got Adam Eaton from the Washington Nationals. These will have 2017 stats on them. Eaton was with the Diamondbacks and then the White Sox and the Nationals, and he stole only 3 bases in 2017, but had 57 in his career up to that point, including 18 with the White Sox back in 2015. Had a knee injury that year. You can see he's actually wearing, I think that's the base running glove in that picture, not 100% sure. Here's Mike Napoli. I believe he's on David Ross's staff now as a member of the Cubs. Not as a player, but as a coach. Napoli with the Red Sox, Rangers, Indians, and then back to the Rangers. In 2017, hit 29 homers, drove in 66, but only hit 193. Walking 49 times in 124 games. He was listed as a first baseman at that point. He also caught. Mike Zunino, catcher for the Mariners. Whole career there, hit 25 homers in 2017, 251 with 64 dingers as well. Rejuvenated his career as the American League leader in home runs among players with fewer than 400 at-bats. Here's a sideways card of Matt Chapman from the Athletics. Back of his card says, came up with the A's in 2017, 14 homers, 40 driven in. In 168 games, he led all minor league third basemen with 68 defensive runs saved, and was just as proficient as an Oakland rookie, August Defensive Player of the Month. I think defenses is something that gets overlooked in a lot of cases, particularly with a team like Oakland, for example. We've got Robert Gsellman with the Mets. I think it's Gsellman is how you say it. 8-7 in 25 starts, 5.19 ERA. Had a slow start and a hamstring injury in 2017, but was a 3.50 ERA after the All-Star break. Here's a interesting one, long ball legends. Joey Gallo with the Rangers, 490 feet. Halted a rare 2-week long ball dry spell on September 17th. Leading off the top of the second, golfed a 1-2 slider well beyond the wall and center and onto the grassy knoll at Angel Stadium of Anaheim. 490-foot home run, which carried a 116.2 mile-an-hour exit velocity. That's incredible. 25.7-degree launch angle. It was the 3rd longest of the season and 8th longest in the StatCast era. I think it's funny. I don't know if you guys have ever seen on Twitter Domingo Ayala. He's basically mocking baseball in a lot of ways. I mean, he's a former minor league player in real life. But he kind of talks about a lot of these funny things and tells funny stories about the way he thinks the game should be played and kind of jokes about it. One of the ones he was talking about was how he was trying to practice his launch angle. Here is Adrian Gonzalez as a member of the Mets. Gonzalez, this is apparently a special card. I don't know if it's an alternate or what. It doesn't say what it is, but on the back it says 5 of 50. So that's kind of cool. First year with the Mets, so maybe that's why. If he's healthy, the Mets may have caught lightning in a bottle. Scaled the 300 home run and 2,000 hit milestones in 2016 and 2017. 3 homers, 30 driven in for the Dodgers in 17 in only 71 games. Hit 242 on the downside of his career, but when he was in his prime, may have been the best first baseman in the game. Here's Cameron Maybin for the Marlins. Love those orange jerseys. Padres, Braves, Tigers, Angels, Astros, Marlins. Talk about a journeyman, huh? But Cameron Maybin did become the 5th leading base stealer in 2017, but his swipe in Game 2 of the World Series made him one of the most popular men in America. Why was that? What happens sometimes when you have a stolen base in the World Series? You win a free taco from Taco Bell. So cheers to you, Cameron Maybin. 2 cards left in this pack. Matt Garza with the Brewers. Garza would later end up signing in Chicago, of course. Let's see. This year wasn't that great. 4.94 ERA, 6-9 record in 24 starts. 79 strikeouts, over 100, and 14 2/3. But apparently he's really good against the Orioles. He's 10-1. And again, this is going into the 2018 season. And we leave it with Ryan Healy, first baseman for the Mariners. Healy was with the A's in 2016 and 2017. In 2017, hit 25 home runs and hit 271 in 149 games, driving in 78. He's a tough and passionate gamer, it says. Needed only 139 games to bash his first 30 Major League home runs. Traded from Oakland to Seattle for a pair of young players in November. Ryan Healy. So that is Topps 2018 Series 2, along with another pack of opening day on this edition of Quarantine Cards. Hope you guys are staying safe. Wash your hands. Hit me up on Twitter. Share, like, respond, all of the above. Don't forget to check out my friend Andrew Salgado as well, hence the AS hat today. Oh, and I didn't talk about this shirt. Try not to suck. I mean, that's Joe Maddenism 101 right there. And if that doesn't pretty much sum up life, right? Like, just whatever you do, try not to suck at it. Joe Madden, I think, hit that on the nose. Cheers, my friends.